Hey, in this week's video, I'm going to give you 8 secrets, 8 things they never tell you about in Florida. I don't know who they are, but I know that they never tell you about it, and I'm going to tell you about it. Stick around though, because number 8 is going to make you go, ooh, wee, I don't know. Number 8 is going to make you just a little uncomfortable. Number 8 is going to make you, oh, ho, ho, ho. So stick around for number 8. It's going to be a lot of fun. So hang on, here we go. Okay, number 1, you ready for this one that they never tell you about? It's an ugly state. Yeah, I know. You think about the palm trees and the pretty water, and we do have all that. But let me tell you something. There's parts of the state that are slam ugly. You get into the middle part of it, and out in some of those rural roads, it's ugly. But nobody even talks about that. You kind of discover that on your own when you get lost one day. Oh my gosh, where am I? This is an ugly place. So my first one is they never tell you that this is an ugly state in a lot of places. Okay, number 2. You ready for this one? Number 2, we have really high taxes. Oh yeah, we have high taxes. Now the offset for that, of course, is we don't have any state income tax. So that's really sweet. But our taxes here on real estate and stuff are really, really high. Here's something most people don't know about. If you buy a car here, it's going to cost you a 6% tax on the car. I mean, you buy a $50,000 car, 6% of that, what, that's $3,000. That's a lot of money. Now, here's something a lot of people don't know also. If you trade your car in, whatever the value is of your car will come off of that amount of money you're being charged tax. So if you if you buy a $50,000 car and your car is worth $20,000, then you're only going to pay tax on $30,000. Look, I'm from the state of Virginia. It's like 4.15% versus the 6. But here's the catch. In Virginia, they send you a property tax every year, which includes your car. So you pay personal property tax in states like that. Maybe your state is the same way. In Florida, we don't have to pay that, but boy, they bust you wide open when you buy that car. So one of the things they don't talk about, I don't know who they are, but they never want to tell you this, the taxes are really high here. Okay, number 3 is the pros and cons of where to live. So I want to break this down in several different areas in Florida. Let's talk about North Florida. We're not going to talk about the Panhandle. That's Panama City and Pensacola. They're part of Alabama over there. So Destin Beach is a nice place to go visit, by the way. But anyway, let's break it down this way. Northern Florida. Let's talk about Tallahassee and Jacksonville. That's North Florida, right? That ain't really Florida. You don't want to live up there. That ain't Florida. That's like South Georgia. It's like a bunch of pine trees and stuff, and ain't all that pretty. Yeah, I mean, they got rolling hills, and I guess that's pretty. But Tallahassee and Jacksonville ain't really part of Florida. So that's one section, right? As you come on down a little ways, let's go down to Orlando. Orlando's kind of the central part of the state. Maybe include Daytona Beach in that area. Orlando, you can move to Orlando if you want to, but you better like traffic, and you better enjoy Mickey Mouse, because there's a whole lot of traffic and a whole lot of Mickey Mouse there. So, depending on where you are in life, even if you got kids, that's going to get old pretty quick. So Orlando's a nice place, a lot of nice places to live around there, but you're going to be jamming with traffic there. Now, let's move on down the coast a little ways on the East Coast, southeast, South Florida, commonly referred to. Let's think about that as West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. Ooh, those people down there, they're all mean. They're mad about something. I mean, they honk the horns at you. They wave at you with just one finger and stuff. So I don't really understand what goes on down there. I lived in Fort Lauderdale for a year, and visiting that area is pretty nice as a visitor. But man, when you live there, it's really not a great place to live. So if you're thinking about moving to Florida, I don't think it's a place you want to go. I mean, they have a saying, the further south you go in Florida, the further north you go. Does that kind of make sense? Because you get a lot of people from the north. Some of them are still angry about the weather up there or something. And we get a lot of people from around the world there. And it's just a hodgepodge of, I don't know, it's just kind of wild down there. So let's move across the state. Let's go across the state to the West Coast and get over to Naples, Fort Myers. That might be a place you want to live, yeah? Hey, Naples and Fort Myers, beautiful area. Naples is prettier than Fort Myers, but it's a beautiful area. But it's really, really expensive to live there. So it's probably not the most ideal thing. Now let's come on up north a little ways to where Tampa and St. Pete are, which is where I live. I live in St. Petersburg area, right? Hey, it's a great place to live. I mean, everybody don't talk too much about Tampa, St. Pete. You don't hear that much about, especially St. Pete, you don't. Let me tell you something. We get a lot of people from the Midwest. They're all warm and friendly, say please and thank you and yes ma'am and no ma'am, they open doors for you. It is really cool. So when you think about Florida, realize something. You got the northern part of Florida, which really ain't Florida. You got the central part of Florida, which is really busy because of Mickey Mouse and his bunch of friends. And then you get down to South Florida and it's kind of crazy and wild. You go over to Naples, it's really expensive. But come on up to St. Pete. It's pretty cool in St. Pete area. I'm just saying. So there you have it. Let's go on to the next one. Here we go. Number 4 that they never tell you about is we got bugs here. We got lots of bugs here. I guess it's because of the humidity. It gets hot and humid here, right? One of the baddest bugs in the world. We have a whole lot of them here. We have termites here. There's 3 types of houses in Florida. Those that currently have termites, those that have had termites, and those that haven't had termites yet. If you live here, you probably at some point are going to have to deal with termites. It ain't a big deal to most of us. They put a tent over your house, they kill the termites, and we go on about our business. But remember, nobody really talks much about the bugs. We got some serious bugs here. I live in Treasure Island, Florida, on a canal. Speaking of bugs, I can leave my screen doors open. I never see a bug. I've never seen a mosquito or a bug. I think it has to do with the Gulf breezes. So if you're close enough to the Gulf, you may never see a bug. But it depends on where you live. Get into the central part of the state somewhere where those ugly terrain is, you probably have a lot of bugs there. So the number, let's see, it was number 4 thing they don't tell you about is bugs. Number 5 that they never tell you about is we have a rainy season here. The rainy season is like July and August. It rains like every afternoon just about, right? It's also the hot seasons. You got the rainy season, the hot season combined. Here's the real downside about this rainy season thing. You really got to know where you're driving around here because you can get flooded in a heartbeat. The streets don't drain that well. And, because we get all this rain at one time, these gully washers, right? You can stall your car out and have some serious problems. So when you move here, understand that when rainy season comes around, be very cautious about where you're driving or you're going to find yourself underwater and your car's going to stall out and it ain't going to be any fun for you. Number 6 is, you ready for this one? They never tell you much about this one either. We have alligators. Now, I know that you know that we have alligators in Florida. I realize that. But here's what you need to realize. Alligators are everywhere, more or less. If there's a pond or a lake someplace, you got to be really cautious about that, yeah? Generally speaking, they don't bother humans. But let me tell you something. You go out there, start walking Fido around, let Fido get too close to that water, you may be missing Fido. So just be aware. We got alligators here. Be careful when you get around ponds and lakes because that's where those dudes hang out, or ravines or whatever. So just be aware. They never tell you about, they do tell you about we got alligators. They just don't tell you that those alligators might eat your puppy. Number 7 that they never tell you about, right, is that insurance is really high here. Yeah, insurance is high. Property insurance on your home, it's high here. On your automobile, it's high here on your automobile. It really is. I mean, I don't know why that is. Maybe because we have so many people coming in from out of state and they bang into each other. I don't know, but insurance is high here. Depending on where you live, you may even need flood insurance on your home. Every home here doesn't need flood insurance, by the way. But insurance rates are high here, and they never tell you about that. Come on to Florida, and we do welcome you all to Florida. But understand that the insurance rates are kind of high here, so be wise to that. All right, here's one they don't tell you, but you might know a little bit about. This is number 8. This is the biggie. Number 8, are you ready? Florida is a very, very red state. So look, if you're coming from one of those blue states, and we want everybody to come to Florida. Look, we want you to move to Florida. We want your money, so come on down to Florida, right? We want you to come here. But if you're coming from a blue state, you'd probably be better off not to bring all that blue stuff with you. I mean, look, you can criticize some things about Florida. I could criticize some things myself. But the bottom line is, during the pandemic, we fared pretty well. We weren't in lockdown very long, and kids were back in school pretty quick. We had a pretty normal life. As a matter of fact, a lot of you came down to Florida to vacation to get away from that mess that you in, wherever you were, wherever that may be. Yeah, probably somewhere up north or from way out west someplace. You came to Florida because you could have some fun and have a good time. Our problems weren't any worse here as far as sickness and whatever than it was anywhere in the country. And so you're coming to a red state. You're kind of going to have to accept some of that, I think, or you're not going to be very happy here. And I don't think a lot of people have talked much about it, but just coming off on an election, everybody knows it's a red state. But people are pretty happy here. We're pretty happy that we kind of feel this freedom thing, and we want to keep our freedom. So don't come down here and be taking our freedom. But anyway, it's a red state. Just understand that. Look, I'm Tommy Gibbs. I'm with Global Lifestyle Realty. I want you to do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and watch this video right here, especially if you're a boomer. This video here is going to talk about 8 mistakes that boomers make. So go ahead and take the time, watch that video, and thanks for watching this video.